Good evening and welcome to this Zoom webinar forum sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Kitsap County. This evening, we are hearing from the candidates vying for position 6 and for the at-large seat on the Port Orchard City Council. My name is Mev Hoberg and I will be the moderator for tonight's event. The League of Women Voters is proud to be a nonpartisan organization and does not support or oppose candidates or political parties. The League envisions a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The questions for today's forum were sourced from the community through the League of Women Voters website. The candidates will be asked questions that cover a range of topics and issues pertinent to Port Orchard. The candidates participating in this evening's forum are Shirah Dedman and Fred Chang, running for position 6, and Jay Rosapepe, running for an at-large seat. Jay's opponent, Kimberly Shaw, had a last-minute schedule conflict and is unable to attend this evening. Thank you all for offering your skills and talents in service to your community. You deserve our respect and each other's. Please remember that this is a forum and not a debate. We ask you to respond specifically to the provided questions and remain civil to each other. The candidates have been informed of tonight's format, but I'd like to go over it for the viewers. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to provide an opening statement. Kimberly Shaw sent an opening statement, which I will read in her place. Candidates then have 90 seconds to answer each question posed to them this evening. We will start in the order that their names appear on the ballot, and we'll rotate who answers first with every question. Candidates, please be conscious of the viewers and do not go over your 90 seconds. If you run out of time, you may finish your sentence. If you finish responding to a question before the 90 seconds are up, you're welcome to use your remaining time to address a previous question or clarify a statement you may have made. At the end of the forum, each candidate will have 90 seconds to provide a closing statement. Our timekeeper, Betty Weiss, will keep everything honest using the electronic clock, which the candidates will be able to see on their screens. Let's begin with opening statements, and we'll start with position 6 candidate Shirah Dedman.
Hi, I'm Shirah Dedman, and I'm running for Port Orchard City Council because I want to serve our community and this beautifully complicated city we call home. I may be a newer resident. I moved here less than 2 years ago, but like many who've chosen to make this place home, I came here with intention. And what I found was a community full of heart, character, and opportunity. My background is a little unconventional. I'm a late in life mom of 2 young kids. We live with my sister, the best sister in the world, and her animal babies. I've worked in the entertainment industry, practiced law, and later shifted my focus to food systems and local policy after seeing how health and community are so deeply connected. Now I run my own strategic communications consultancy, and I also craft herbal teas and clean skincare with my sister at the farmer's market, where I proudly serve on the board of directors. Through that work, I've had the chance to connect with many of you. We often talk about how much potential our city has, but also how important it is to make sure that growth doesn't leave people behind. So I'm running because I want to help guide Port Orchard toward a future that feels balanced, thoughtful, and rooted in community.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll move to Fred Chang.
Hi, I'm Fred Chang, and I first learned about Port Orchard after seeing a historic home on the internet. I was intrigued and visited and fell in love with the downtown waterfront and the Horlock Ferry between Port Orchard and Bremerton. I found the city to be very friendly and met many people while walking my dogs. I was appointed to the Planning Commission and learned about land use issues and community planning. And wanting to try to keep the same friendly feel of a small town in a city that's rapidly growing, I decided to run for a council seat. On council, I learned about balancing the needs of builders while maintaining affordable rates for residents. We need to watch for those on a limited income as well as those who are unsheltered while keeping neighborhoods safe and clean. I've been fortunate to call Port Orchard home for nearly 30 years, and it is an honor serving on the City Council. If re-elected, I look forward to working together to help Port Orchard thrive and be a great place to live, work, and play. Some of the things that I've done in the community is I've served on the Bremerton Ferry Advisory Committee, as well as the city's Port Orchard Planning Commission. And I've been a board member of the Sydney Museum and Arts Association, and I'm currently on the board at Kitsap Community Resources. My background is actually in communications and public disclosure at the Washington State Department of Transportation, and I've also had software support and testing experience at Adobe Systems.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving to the candidates for the at-large seat and keeping to the order that candidates will appear on the ballot, I will read Kimberly Shaw's opening statement and then we'll hear from J. Rosapepe. So here we go. Oops. Kimberly says, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me and very sorry I couldn't make it. My husband and I have called Port Orchard home for 30 years, raising 3 kids, each proud SK graduates, and now we're excited to watch our granddaughter and future grandkids grow up here too. Port Orchard is a great place to live, but I know we can do better. Like many of you, I see untapped potential. Our city struggles to define its identity and residents are left searching for answers. Utility rates are rising fast and our streets and parks don't always reflect the pride we have in this community. But I've also seen positive change. Newer council members are asking tough questions, holding leaders accountable, and engaging with the public through social media and events like Coffee with Council. This is where I believe I can make a difference. I'm passionate about communication and community connection, and I want to bring more of that to Port Orchard. Our city has great bones, the layout, the waterfront, and most importantly, its people. What we need now is full council support to push for daily operations that maintain and beautify our city. Too often, veteran council members limit themselves to policy and budget, but we need more. On utility rates, we must stay fiscally responsible and prevent further price hikes. And when it comes to communication, the days of council members just showing up once a week are over. In 2025, we need representatives who engage with the community, gather feedback, and keep everyone informed. I also believe Port Orchard needs a dedicated city information officer, and one of my goals is to help create that position. Port Orchard deserves a council that's communicative, engaged, and community-driven, and that's the kind of representative I will be. That is Kim Shaw. And now, let's hear from J. Rosapepe.
My name is Jay Rosapepe, and I'm running for re-election to the Port Orchard City Council. First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. Along with the Kitsap County Voters Pamphlet, it's one of the best ways voters can stay informed when making important decisions that shape the future of Port Orchard. As council members, we set city policy, oversee and approve a balanced budget, and represent the interest of residents. We listen to our community, keep people informed, and work to resolve their concerns. We also work closely with other local and state officials to ensure Port Orchard has a strong voice at the table. Today, our council is addressing growth by improving roads, updating building codes to encourage investment and affordable housing, and working with developers to ensure projects serve the public good. That's why it's important to elect a council member with a broad business background, a proven record of listening to residents, and the ability to build consensus with colleagues. I bring that experience, business background, and record of consensus building to ensure those responsibilities are carried out effectively. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jay. Oh, let's move on to our questions. Thanks to all of you. Moving to the questions. And we will start with J. Rosapepe and then Shirah, Dedman. Gosh. Question is, what personal attributes do you bring to the team of Port Orchard City Council?
Well, I have a variety of background. I'm the only veteran on the council right now. And also with 8 years of experience on the council, I'm also the third most senior council member. I've served on all the committees and currently am the chair of the land use and the utilities committee. So a very varied background. My background is 20 years of naval experience in logistics, followed by a lot of experience in public transportation through being the maintenance manager at Pierce Transit, the operations manager at Mason Transit, and then director of transportation with the school district. I've held elected positions on the school board And again, as I've mentioned before, currently on the council. So it's a variety of experience throughout the region and also here in Kitsap. I've served on numerous nonprofits and community, such as the South Kitsap Public Education Foundation, where I'm on the board right now, and also South Kitsap Helpline. So it's a variety of experience that I bring to the table, and I'm looking forward to serving the residents for another 2 years in the at-large position. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now Shirah Dedman.
Yeah, since we have a little bit more time, do you mind if I ask that you repeat that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
That's no fine. And I can repeat the question. What personal attributes do you bring to the team of Port Orchard City Council?
I bring a mix of experience, dedication, and a deep passion for service to the City Council. As a mom, I want to help build a community that supports families now and into the future. My career path shifted after I experienced how food and community can transform health and well-being. And it changed my journey so that I went from working in the entertainment industry to practicing law to earning an advanced law degree in agricultural and food law and policy, focusing on zoning and land use, sustainability, and equitable food access. I currently serve on the board of Port Orchard's Farmers Market, working to expand food access and support local businesses. And I represent South Kitsap on the board of Bremerton Kitsap Access Television, advocating for transparency and local voices. I'm passionate about building a healthier, more connected, and more resilient Port Orchard for everyone. And since I have a little bit more time, I will point out that yes, I have been here less than 2 years. My baby was born actually right here in Port Orchard. And I got off as soon as I got in here, the community is so important to me. I just immediately got involved and volunteering and being involved however I want. However I could. And so I've met just so many wonderful community members because of that. And that's what I hope to bring, is that love and that passion for our community.
All right, thank you. And now Frank Chang.
Actually, it's Fred.
Fred, oh,
No worries.
oh my
I
goodness.
will respond. The attributes that I would bring, I would say, are probably best expressed by some of the things I've had to do for work, I've been able to do for work. I've worked in communications and public disclosure, both at the Washington State Department of Transportation, and it has made me appreciate how every document that a state employee creates is a public document that anyone can ask for. It's also very helpful to see the kinds of requests that the public make, because you understand often they're asking for things that perhaps should be provided on websites, and it should have been more proactively provided. So I bring that sort of sense of what the public might ask when you make announcements. And prior to my DOT experience, I actually worked for Adobe Systems in both software support or technical support and testing. And while software support can be really grueling for the person trying to help people, it was actually, for me, it was like boot camp, because I got some basic training from Adobe, and I was by no means an expert on the programs that I was supposed to help people with, but it taught me to probe when people called. Usually they were somewhat upset about something not working, and try to figure out what exactly was going on, and then try to find out if there was a solution that I could help with or I could find the resources for.
Okay, great. Now rotating, this time we'll start with Fred Chang and then Shirah Dedman. And the question is, the council is responsible for setting the city's budget and can use the budget as a tool to steer its priorities. What would be some of your budget priorities? What do you see as the most immediate issues facing the city of Port Orchard?
Well, it would be nice if the entire budget were discretionary and I could decide how to allocate the funds. Unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe for some people, the majority of it is already allocated to the different funds and the different enterprises that the city runs, such as water utilities, and sewer utilities. So I think what the gist of the question is about is what would my priorities be with the discretionary part of the budget, which would be just the general fund after law enforcement has been paid for. Based on this amount, we don't have a lot of, some people say we don't have a lot of peanut butter to spread around, so you have to try to either focus it in one area or allocate it as much as you want. I, like Kim Shaw has said before, I would also like to stress the importance of communication and encourage the council to have a full-time person dedicated not only to the website, but also communicating press releases that need to go out to residents, but also serve as an ombudsman. We're hearing a lot of questions from people that come in through various channels, and we're finding that they're not always getting the answers they want, and they're not always getting the response that they would like in a timely fashion. So I would try to work on that and get people more answers that are looking for.
All right, thank you. And now, Shirah Dedman. City's
I
budget.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I will manage the city's, oh, that's all good. I will manage the city's budget by prioritizing responsible, needs-based spending. For instance, this city is growing with new housing developments constantly popping up. And while planning for growth is important, infrastructure needs to keep pace with development. Instead of the current expensive sprawl, I'd advocate for development in areas with existing infrastructure, which costs the city less, meaning it costs us less. Also, it's critical we address safety and traffic and safety from McCormick. So reducing this congestion and providing emergency access has to be a budgetary priority. In other words, I'd manage the city's budget around smart growth, not just growth.
Okay. And then J. Rosapepe. Budget priorities.
It's between the two that we've already heard. One is discretionary funding, and then one is funding related to infrastructure. So in a perfect world, I would focus on infrastructure. We are way behind in because of growth with roads, especially in the Bethel corridor. And moving forward with that is obviously the sewer and utility system. A lot of that is already in the planning works, thank God, and funding, the associated funding coming with it. If I had a magic wand, much like Fred had talked about, I would go with parks. And at some point in time, we're going to have to be addressing getting a parks department, which would take a vote of the people, and move forward with that. So right now, infrastructure, parks, public safety, those are my top three. Thank you.
All right, great, thanks. Flipping, rotating, we're going to start with Jay, and then we're going to go to Fred Chang. So the question is, given that the extensive reconstruction work scheduled for Bay Street will result in significant traffic revisions and road closures, how will you support the businesses on Bay Street during the months of disruption?
Well, I hope that, and hope is not a plan, but basically is communication both with residents, communications with the businesses, and making sure that we have done everything in our power to make sure that businesses are not impacted. So for an example is, and a lot of people don't know this, is that Bay Street is a state highway. Now this project is not due, for a state, but when they did the roundabout, a lot of the traffic and impacts on businesses were state made, not city. So here we can do everything we can do to communicate, get people to come downtown, and take the impact off them will be what we need to do to keep the city vibrant and moving forward. So that's where I'm working on, is the communication piece of it.
All right, thank you. And now Fred Chang.
I can only augment or amplify on what Jay said about communication, because that is the most important thing. I think it is responsible for the city to let the merchants know the timeline, like when things are happening and what roads will be closed and when. I would personally try to help the merchants, but I don't know that they need my help. But what I would do if they weren't doing it is I would have them send out email blasts, just inform people via social media, both of the details of the roads, what detours are available, but also just remind people that they are open, that they can come downtown and maybe offer some alternate places that they could park. Remind them that there is public transit, that they could probably park up at the courthouse and take a bus down if they really wanted to. It's possible that the merchants could fund some of the shuttle type service, but once again, it would just be getting out as much information as frequently as possible and just reminding people not only that the road is closed, but that people are working and their livelihoods depend on our support.
Okay, thank you. And now, Shirah Dedman, Bay Street. Oh, your mic's off.
So as a vendor, or as part of the board of the Port Orchard Farmers Market, this is a really large concern that we've been having, and being able to speak to the city council is very important, and actually getting answers is even more important. I I hear now what council members are saying, and that's very important. But we actually need to start seeing that. In addition to building, the next year there's going to be the World Cup, and so we already have parking ability issues, and this is a major strain on our seniors. Our seniors and others with mobile accessibility bring this up all the time. And so the city should really take not the responsibility, not just putting it on the business owners, but take on that responsibility of helping bring, for instance, a tram to downtown, to help those that have mobility issues, especially with all the parking issues that there are, and anything that would exacerbate that. So as a city council person, I would absolutely prioritize that.
Okay, thanks. Moving on, and this time we'll be starting with Shirah Dedman and then to Fred. What specific steps would you take to increase access to affordable housing in Port Orchard, and how would you balance growth with maintaining the character of our community?
So when we talk about solving our housing crisis, we should start by understanding what's driving it. In Port Orchard, military housing allowances are often higher than what local wages can afford, which encourages developers to build for that market, not for working families. So this pushes prices up for everyone, and makes it hard for people to stay long term. And especially with our military families, this creates a brain drain because they can't afford to stay here once they no longer have that housing allowance. So I believe we need smarter zoning, incentives for mixed income housing, and stronger partnerships with both developers and the military. Let's focus on creating housing that reflects the actual needs of our community, including teachers, healthcare workers, and young families, and not just what the market can bear. That's how we build a more affordable, stable, and connected Port Orchard.
Okay, thank you. Now Fred Chang, please.
Would you please repeat the question? That was a long
Ab-
one. It's almost a
It
two-part
was.
question.
It kind of is, and let me tell you, they get longer.
God.
So what what specific steps would you take to increase access to affordable housing in Port Orchard, and how would you balance growth with maintaining the character of our community?
Okay. I think it's easier to start on the first part. I'm going to interpret this increased access as how can we create more homes that people can actually buy as opposed to places that people could live in affordably. I think we may have the latter part with a great deal of rental units, but the first part is really is a conundrum because we're seeing a lot of the development is really for the higher end houses. And I think what we need is a lot of the starter homes that are available both for first time buyers, but also seniors who may want to downsize from a larger house to a smaller one. And we're finding that developers just don't want to build the smaller houses. They're finding it not worthwhile. So some specific steps that we could take, this is something that I've been seeing in different places, is that if there were parcels of city-owned land in residential areas, we could perhaps make them available to developers to build smaller houses. The design of these houses would naturally have to be in character with their neighbors, whatever that means, whether it's like two-story houses, or I don't think they mean a color scheme so much, but just maybe the style of architecture. This might be one way that we can just sort of emphasize the affordability of people who want to buy a house.
Okay, thanks. And now, Jay Rosapepe, how would you increase access to affordable housing and balance growth with maintaining the character of our community?
I think character of the community is the most important part. We have to make sure that in development, we take a look at our height restriction, that we don't compromise on that for people's views of the waterfront, and also that we maintain our shoreline and waterfront. Our best part of the city, or one of the best parts of the city, is downtown and the waterfront. We don't want to compromise that. So what are we doing? That's a good question. First of all, we're looking at right now is multifamily tax exemptions, both for 8 and 12 years, to get the right type of housing built to afford more density, lower cost housing. I championed and the council approved a variance for the Amici House that is going to be opening soon. That's a form of congregated living. It's great because it allows people that are just getting started to have a place to live and access downtown and the transportation. We know we don't need more garden apartments, but I think we definitely are looking at 3 to 5 housing units on lots. And recently I also sat on a board that selected plans for ADUs so that we can build and encourage those and improve our density and affordable housing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, rotating again. This time we're going to start with Jay Rosapepe and then Shirah Dedman. Do you feel the city has adequate infrastructure, such as roads, parking, water, and sewer, to accommodate the influx of people and subsequent traffic brought by increased housing construction on the outskirts of and within Port Orchard? And if not, what solutions do you propose? And the question asker added, please don't say roundabouts.
I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat that.
It's
Yeah.
about infrastructure.
Yeah.
Do you feel the city has adequate infrastructure like roads, parking, water, and sewer to accommodate the influx of people and the subsequent traffic brought by the increased housing construction on the outskirts of and within Port Orchard? And if not, what solutions do you propose? Not roundabouts.
All right, thanks. I'll take the first stab at this one. The short answer is no. On the roads, we have a lot of planning, anywhere from the roundabouts to upgrading roads and also items like sidewalks. We've made tremendous strides. Well, I've been on council and Fred has been on council with water and sewer. We have specifically the Marina Pump Station has come online, replacing the existing station that was over 60 years old. So we need to do not a better job. We need to get the projects funded and shovel ready, break ground, especially in the Bethel corridor, the old Clifton corridor. And we need to do a better job of working with our partners in the county and the state. So when they do a project that comes to the edge of the city, we're in agreement on how that works. And that we take advantage of these basically coming to the table to make sure that we're making the progress we need for our infrastructure and water. We're moving forward. with the growth that's coming up. But I would like to, in 16 seconds left, remind everybody that we're the 7th fastest growing city in the state. And that is causing a lot of stress that we're dealing with right now. Thank you.
All right. Shirah, infrastructure, not roundabouts. Don't forget your microphone. There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm trying to get my brain together with that question. So in terms of infrastructure, I don't believe that we have enough infrastructure. And I think not only when we talk about utilities that are in place and roads, we also don't have the economic infrastructure in place. So let me go ahead and describe what I mean. Right now, the city council agreed to a plan that focuses growth of development in a corridor that currently has no infrastructure. And so what this does is this place an extra burden on us to pay for that, to help pay for that, because no impact fees don't cover all of that. The impact fees just cover what the area developer is developing in. We have to pay for the rest and the extra burden. So no, we don't have the infrastructure, but it would cost us less if they actually focused our growth plans on areas where there is already development and infrastructure, such as downtown. Also, what I mean by we don't have the economic infrastructure in place is that we need more businesses here in Port Orchard. We don't need to keep spending our money and therefore potential revenue for the city in places like Silverdale and Gig Harbor, because then our city misses out on that sales tax revenue. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And now Fred Chang, infrastructure.
Can I stall and ask you to read the question again?
Yeah. Do you feel the city has adequate infrastructure such as roads, parking, water, and sewer to accommodate the influx of people and subsequent traffic that has been brought by increased housing construction on the outskirts of and within Port Orchard? And if not, what solution do you propose?
Okay, first, I just want to inform that's quite an involved question, but I just wanted to make an aside that the writer of the question may want to look on the city's website about the Bethel Corridor Plan, because that plan details 7 roundabouts that are going to go in from Lund Tremont to Sedgwick, inclusive. That is the plan, and it's going to take a while to get there because it has to be done in phases, but that is something I don't believe a lot of people are aware of. So we may not have many streetlights according to this plan. To answer the first question, though, no, I agree with the 2 speakers before us that we do not have adequate infrastructure. And it's kind of ironic that when you rate roads, or what the state might call the level of service, you are allowed to have the letter grade D for your roads. The most extreme solution that we could possibly have would be a moratorium. Now, the only time the city would probably consider that is when we run out of things like water. There was a portion of the city where we did not have adequate water, and for a few months, we halted development in that area until we were assured of an adequate supply.
Okay. Now we're going to come right back to Fred Chang and then Shirah Dedman. The city has faced a number of challenges regarding homelessness. What steps do you see the city council taking to address this issue?
I think there are a lot of things that the city could do, but the issue is basically how much funding do we have for it? I know that whenever we talk about places, for example, we need safe parking. We need a place where people who are living out of their cars can safe park late at night with access to bathrooms and security. But as soon as we try to designate a place, the fear comes in right away, like, well, if we make something like this that's attractive and appealing, we're going to be attracting people from all over the town, not just Port Orchard, but from like Silverdale, other counties. Having worked with the severe weather shelter, and I'm very grateful that the local churches have been offering their facilities to support something like this, you run into a lot of people who are not only hard on their luck, but homeless, but also do come from outside the area. So I think one of the first things that we focus on when we look at homelessness is like, how do we help the people who emanate from the area without making something too appealing that other people would come to it? And we don't have a solution for it because we don't have enough funding, but I think that with enough council will, we could probably choose one thing that we could focus on, whether it's severe weather shelters, safe parking, or congregate living.
Okay, thanks. Moving to Shirah Dedman, the challenges of homelessness.
So the issue of homelessness is deeply personal to me. I have experienced job loss and being unhoused, though because of a strong network of family and friends, I've never been unsheltered. I've also had brothers who are homeless due to mental health issues and not being able to hold down a job or really just being able to care for themselves at all. Given that, I think that our current approach of sort of that we give money to the larger Kitsap, which is fine, but then we still need to make sure that it's easy to get services here in Port Orchard, and that services need to be highly accessible by public transportation, which I can tell you they are not. And my plan is also to and I say this in terms of job training and addiction and mental health support and access to food access. And so we have to also tackle the affordability crisis by refusing to give tax deals to developers who aren't building genuinely affordable housing. Our approach needs to be a community-led, compassionate, and efficient response that provides both homes and support our neighbors need to thrive.
Okay, thank you. And now Jay Rosapepe, the question of homelessness and how the council can help.
Well, we are severely lacking in funds to dedicate our own resources from the city perspective. On that note, I will say these are some of the things that we're doing addressing homelessness separate from affordable housing. One, we work closely with Kitsap County. They have a heart team that we coordinate with. We also work with Kitsap Mental Health and Kitsap Community Resources. There's the county shelter that's on Olympic that we work toward. And additionally, the police chief has made it a priority of his, not only for accreditation of the officers, the department under him, but they've also got additional training in de-escalation and how to work with getting people headed in the right area. So these are things that we're doing. We need to do more. I would love to see us at some point in time try to find or partner with a nonprofit for tiny houses. When we've suggested this before on the council, we haven't gotten a lot of traction, and that's something that we definitely need to look at again. Thank you.
All right. The next question was about development, but I think we just covered a lot of that. So I'm going to say we're going to continue on the next question. Shirah Dedman will be first and then Fred Chang. It's a long one again, so I'm happy to repeat it. Representative government depends on robust communication between elected officials and the people they represent. How do you plan to interact with the voters and taxpayers of Port Orchard, both in terms of receiving information from them and communicating your information and actions to them? So, communication.
So my plan is to create a more transparent and collaborative city government. I'll start by making government information more accessible. This includes a new easy-to-use online portal for all documents. Have you ever written something and you don't want to read it? I'm going to go ahead and re-answer that. So I work in I work in communications. I should be able to answer this question off the cuff. And what I do is meaningful, making sure that people have meaningful input. So what I mean is right now, for instance, around uh, community input here is considered filling out a survey and getting that access to that survey, maybe because you subscribe to the newsletter. So I believe that as a city council member, I'd really prioritize getting real information out there through different means, whether it's things like flyers and finding other grassroots ways of being able, our community members to get input, such as town halls. We really aren't a big city. There is no reason that we shouldn't have in-person town halls available or Zoom town halls. So that members can actually have meaningful input and necessary notification, because they'll tell being told about something that happens about 4 days before is not meaningful. Thank you.
All right. So next, Fred Chang. Representative government depends on robust communication between elected officials and the people they represent. How do you plan to interact with voters and taxpayers, both in terms of receiving information from them and communicating your information to them?
I would maintain the current channels, which are currently email and phone. We get that through our official city accounts. The city has also started to post to Facebook to get some basic information out, and it's gotten more detailed. As Shirah was saying, we need to get it on a more timely basis if we have that a time to do so. I'd like to touch on something that I mentioned before, which is sort of an ombudsman. And what this would do is this would treat this could potentially treat every citizen request with, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, a case number. So it would be a way to follow up, when was this person contacted? Is there a history of how their question was routed? The mayor actually does a good job of doing this for at certain levels, but I think as council members, we're finding that there are always some requests that are somehow falling through the cracks. They're not getting either a timely response or they're not getting the full response. And so I think we can do better by having more, I hate to say resources, but if we could have more attention paid to responding to citizen requests, I think that would be, that would get us to a better level of communication.
Okay, thank you. And now on to Rosapepe, communication.
I think we've done a great job on getting better at communication. What we haven't done is getting a great job of getting the word out on how we're communicating. And a perfect example of this is we've recently gone to see it, click it, fix it in partnering with the county. In other words, if somebody sees something, a pothole, trash, something that needs to be accomplished, they can just go online and do that. And I've talked to several people about it and they don't know anything about it. So that's one way we've got to do a better job of getting the word out. We've done a better job by council meeting and committee meetings. Once they're recorded, they're posted. I think I've mentioned coffee with the council has been a big help. And a lot of times you'll see people down at the farmers market to make ourselves accessible. I'll be talking, hoping I can gather some traction, much like the school district does, to communicate. They do a quarterly newsletter. It's not that expensive, and it gets out to people that are not technologically savvy. Another way to communicate. For me, I print my personal phone number on the city's business card so everybody can call me direct. And then lastly, I would make sure that we encourage not only council members, but city staff, directors to be part of civic organizations such as Rotary, Kiwanis, et cetera, to communicate and interact better with the city. Citizens. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, thank you all for answering those questions. Now we're going to move on to closing statements. You'll each have 90 seconds to make your final case to the voters. We're going to go in the opposite order of our opening statements. It's going to go Rosapepe, Fred Chang, and Shirah Dedman. So we'll start with Jay.
Again, my thanks to the League of Women Voters for hosting this debate forum. I've been honored to be elected to 3 terms on the City Council, always focused on improving quality of life through stronger infrastructure, public safety, and community policing. Excuse me. During this time, new parks have been funded and built. I've got to take a drink of water just a second. Excuse me. It's been a long one already. During this time, new parks have been funded and built, roadways repaired, and major projects completed, from the Tremont Gateway to the Marina Pump Station to McCormick and Rockwell Parks. These improvements make Port Orchard a safer, more vibrant place for residents and visitors alike. As an 8-year council member, I've worked with 10 different colleagues to reach consensus on policies that guide our city's growth. My fellow council members have entrusted me to chair the Land Use and Utilities Committee and improve my 2nd term on the Kitsap Transit Board of Directors. I've also been asked to serve on nonprofit boards because of my experience and commitment to community service. These roles reflect trust earned through performance and proven results. Economist Stephen Levitt famously said, "Don't listen to what people say, watch what they do." Experience, trust, and results speak louder than words or social media postings. Together, we've made real progress: safer streets, new parks, and stronger infrastructure. With your support, I'll continue building a Port Orchard that works for all of us today and for future generations. Thank you.
All right, thanks. You got that in even with the coughing. That was good. Yeah. Okay. All right, now we will hear from Fred Chang.
Thank you, and I'd also like to thank the League for having the forum. I kind of miss having it in person because then you can elbow the person next to you, but we'll have to do that through Zoom. My priorities, if re-elected, would be increased engagement. I think the city has improved communication, recently creating email lists to keep people informed of various topics, from utility and traffic disruptions to future planning projects. But I think the city could do more by improving the website. We have one that's adequate, but it needs a better search facility. And I want to create a vibrant community where members are well informed and want to participate in building their community. I think the challenge for the city is not just getting people's attention, but keeping it. Another priority is keeping the community safe. We hear an increasing number of complaints about vehicle noise and speeding. With our law enforcement officers occupied and other calls for service, we need to continue exploring ways to address these issues. I've heard about things like noise-activated cameras, but I don't know that we have the funds for that. Another priority is keeping utility rates and taxes low. We need to keep utility rates affordable for residents on fixed and limited income. We need to be diligent with taxes to maintain roads and parks and ensure development pays for their share of growth. And lastly, I believe we need to keep focus on long-range projects, maintaining funding and focus on projects such as the community center. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now Shirah Dedman.
Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of this conversation tonight. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I'm running for City Council, not because I have all the answers, but because I'm committed to asking the right questions, and listening to the people who live and work here every day. I believe in a Port Orchard where families can afford to stay, where small businesses can grow, and where decisions are made with care and transparency. This is a community full of heart, and I want to help protect that. Whether it's housing, infrastructure, or supporting local businesses, I believe we can make choices that are not just smart, but also compassionate. I would be honored to serve and bring a thoughtful, collaborative voice to council. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for watching and caring about the future of our city.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Shirah Dedman, yeah, thank you all. Shirah Dedman, Fred Chang, and Rosapepe, you have the League of Women Voters of Kitsap's profound thanks for participating in this forum this evening and for offering your expertise to the city of Port Orchard. Thank you to our audience and community members for participating in representative democracy by listening and learning more about the candidates on your ballot. All of the League's forums are recorded. Links to the videos will soon be on our website, at lwv-kitsap.org and available on our YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube by searching for League of Women Voters of Kitsap. Voters should receive their ballots for the November 4th general election on or near Friday, October 17th, which is just a few weeks away. In Port Orchard, your closest in-person voting location is the Kitsap County Administration Building at 619 Division Street. It will be open for on-site registration and for voting on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you know any folks who need help to vote or are civic-minded procrastinators, please let them know. They will still be able to register to vote the day of the election. Please encourage others to learn about their candidates by viewing this and other League of Women Voters forums. And especially, please remember to vote. Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Great night.